Welcome, everyone. Thank you for hanging in. We had a little bit of technical difficulty that we needed to sort out. We have an amazing group of creators here and some really cool metaverse experiences that we're going to get a chance to see live and talk about. Why don't we just get started with the slides? So, as you all may or may not know, the AWE Nite is a community of cities all around the world that hold events monthly, bi-monthly, semi-monthly. We have over, I think, 25 cities roundabout that are actively doing events. So please come here, awe.live, to see what's happening throughout the months across the world. Next slide. Also, I think, as most of you know, that AWE events and to know about the expo, I think most of the people here probably know about the expo, and that happens 4 times a year in the United States in Santa Clara, in Europe, in Israel, and in Asia. And AWE Europe just completed in Lisbon. It sounded and looked wonderful. Everybody had a great time. And next slide. There we go. It's okay, Garrick, you can go forward. I talked about that already. These are some upcoming events. I'm not seeing the slides. It's a little bit small for me. But I do know about the Wolvik on Friday. That's really interesting. It's the next generation of Firefox for WebXR. And I know that's happening Friday morning, and we're really excited about that. I also was reading about Ashley Crowder's talk about Ventana. It's a asset management platform for 3D objects optimization for augmented reality. And I'm sorry, I don't know about the other events, but you can go to awe.live to get those details. Next slide. The AWE Academy, if you didn't already know, that AWE is bringing in experts from in the field to provide education. I know I personally did one of the courses, which was about like marketing and augmented reality. It was fabulous. I made some really good contacts in that. I know I'm familiar also with the fundraising course for XR startups and founders. And then recently was added the HoloLens and Mixed Reality Masterclass. So again, these are classes taught by industry experts in the field and are excellent places to learn about these particular topics. Next slide. Okay, so that's a preview of all the wonderful things that AWE has to offer. It's this platform, it's networking. This platform is live 24/7, so it's a great place to connect before and after conferences and before and after these events that, as I said, are happening all over the world. So now I have the pleasure to introduce our guests. I'm going to start out with you, Garrick. Garrick is a metaverse architect for Ethereal Engine. He's going to be our guide tonight when we do the live VR experiences. And because we're doing them on Ethereal Engine, you can do them in headset, or you can do them in the browser, you can do them on the phone. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight this platform, because of its versatility, openness, and interoperability. And then we have a number of creators that have built on the engine that are going to be sharing about their experiences. We have Will Driscoll from Wild Capture. Do you want to say hi, Will? You want to say a little bit about the experiences we're going to be seeing from you tonight?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Will Driscoll, Wild Capture. We've been working with Hyperconstruct, Jarek's company, for a little while. In fact, a couple of years. His other partners aren't here. Well, actually, Josh is here. Forgive me. Yeah, so we've been, we're on the media side, the pipeline side of taking realistic humans to this space. We didn't really know much about the interactive side of it. We just know how to deliver high quality to interactive experiences, and they've made it infinitely easy for us to adopt their platform. And so we brought digital fashion as well as some virtual concert sort of experiences, and it's been great.
Cool. And we're gonna get to see the capture from one of those concerts. And then we have filling in for Chris Smoke, who was unfortunately not able to be here tonight. We have Josh Field, who is the co-founder and chief engine architect of Ethereal Engine. And he's also the lead engineer of Putt Club by Fiddle Games, which Chris Smoke was going to be showing. Chris Smoke is the founder of Fiddle Games. So Josh, tell us a little bit about Putt Club and what we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, essentially Putt Club is one of the first games built on Ethereal Engine. It's been used as a kind of a test bed to really push the engine in a lot of really fascinating directions. And yeah, for the last couple of years, we've been using it to develop the engine and get it to the standard we need for high performance multiplayer games inside of the browser.
Great. You wanted to say a couple of things that you're pushing, like what are some of the things that it allowed you to do?
Yeah, I mean, we've built this engine from the ground up. So we started with A-frame and have moved to a lot of different architectures. Essentially, we're having to implement the WebXR spec, which is kind of the centerpiece for all this technology, which allows us, raw access to a lot of the hardware of the headset devices, and really writing a lot of systems around performance to get us to have large, experiences inside of the browser on the headsets. Fully networked, scalable networking, allowing you to have multiple instances, private rooms, a lot of this sort of stuff. Yeah,
and it's all open source, right?
It is indeed.
Yeah. Like all of it's open source. It's pretty impressive. And next we have Athena Demos, and she is the co-founder and producer of Black Rock Creative.
Big Rock Creative. But
Okay.
it's confusing because it's BRCVR, which is Black Rock City Virtual Reality, and our company is Big Rock Creative, which is also BRC.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So I knew, I know
you got it.
Did it wrong. So thank you for correcting me and clearing it up.
No problem.
So I'm personally really excited about what you guys did, because you're mixing virtual reality with real reality. And so that's really cool. Can you tell us what you did and talk about what you're going to be showing tonight?
Sure. We had this idea where we wanted to bring the physical burners and the digital burners together. We did 2 years of BRCVR just virtually when Burning Man was canceled due to COVID. So this year, 2022, was the first year we were back in the physical dust. And there were a lot of burners that were our digital burners that wanted to participate. So we created this project called Within the Window, which was a screen on the physical playa where people could stand in front of it and be seen in the virtual world, and vice versa, so that people could talk to each other and connect literally across the metaverse. And it was a really amazing project that I ideated, and then amazingly was asked to speak at the MIT Reality Hack, where I met all these people. It's like I met the Hyperconstruct team who connected me with Ethereal Engine. I met Ian McKinsey and Sultan Sharif, who also who are organizers of the MIT Reality Hack. And if it wasn't for that one moment in time, which really what we did was a hack, and we tried to get it to work on a different platform, and it took too much manpower, too much babysitting, and that's when we contacted the Hyperconstruct team, and we're just like, can you make this work? And it was like a little mini hack on the 11th hour. I don't know, was it like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before Burning Man? And we all pulled it together. Ian can tell you more about how we made it happen.
And so we have Ian McKenzie also on obviously the same team. Ian, what would you like to share?
Hi, everyone. I'm
There
Ian
you go.
McKenzie. I'm an XR engineer and an organizer of the MIT Reality Hack. As mentioned, met Athena this past year working on projects there, and then brought on board to build a connection to the metaverse between people in the online and people on Playa, which it's not hard to get a video, or it's not an easy feat getting a video feed out to the desert, but thankfully the team at Hyperconstruct and Ethereal Engine helped made that possible. We'll have some more to show you later in this presentation.
Okay, Ian, thank you. I noticed someone might be having trouble seeing the video. Gabriel, if you're still around, if you could work with Stefan and see if you could troubleshoot that. Thank you so much, Athena and Ian. Yeah, that's really cool. I wish I had seen it, because that's really fun, and I think that's like a great use of the technology, like really pushing the boundaries of how we think about XR. And then we have Ari Tarr. So Ari Tarr, you are an adjunct professor at NYU and York University in Toronto, and you teach theater in VR. So what are we going to see from you tonight?
Well, I have been teaching, like you said, VR theater for a while. And of course, there are these really powerful engines that can do amazing things in XR. But to get, let's say, creators like theater students to start using it, WebXR really is the best way. And there's so many benefits to WebXR, except that it's been limited. And there just really hasn't been a lot of investment in the WebXR space, because generally there hasn't been a lot of profit. What is there is cultural richness. It's great to be here on a panel with Athena. You know, there are places that WebXR is really being used to prototype this new version of the internet that is connecting people than ever before. So when I saw Ethereal Engine, I started getting really excited, because it added some of the really amazing detail from game engine platforms, except it was so accessible in the web and so much easier to teach to students. So I've been converting a lot of, I've been in a lot of live theater festivals that use WebXR and game engines and all kinds of client work that involves a sort of live performance inside of a 3D virtual space. But the fact that Ethereal Engine combines like this, you know, JavaScript, A-frame, a very accessible code, and you're doing volumetric video, and you've got rigged avatars. It's just, it really is all the best of all of those worlds, and I'm looking forward to the future. And I just recently did a Halloween activity with where we recreated a seance, a haunted seance, and conjured the ghost of Harry Houdini, which Jarek was an excellent ghost of Houdini. I wanted to say that, but.
Yeah, I'm not as good as an actor as you, Ari, but that was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to show everyone.
You did great. You had great dance moves. But but that's just the beginning, and I'm really excited to start using it more for both education and live events and performances.
Cool. So I think pretty much people answered, like what's the advantage and specific to Ethereal Engine. And I'm sure throughout the course of the evening, as you talk about your work, I think people will begin to see the kinds of things that are possible are way beyond what typically is thought of as WebXR or something like, alt space. So why don't we talk a little bit about some of the misconceptions or fears that people have about the metaverse, and how are you or we in this community combating those, and how is WebXR fit in to that as a solution? So the floor is open.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk a little bit about that. So one of the things that we really focus on is on offering a platform that allows people to sort of build their own metaverse, because we really don't want to be tied to these kind of walled gardens where, you have Facebook or Meta now has their version of their ideal metaverse where they're in control of what you see and what ads are shown to you, and there's all these companies trying to build their own little walled gardens and control the entire technology stack. If you're building on Unity or if you're building on Unreal, you have to end up paying royalties to these bigger companies that are just kind of making it difficult for smaller groups to build their own thing and be in control of their own worlds, right? So that's what we're really trying to do, is give people the opportunity to to run their own stack, run their own metaverse control plane is one of the things we're using to kind of one of the concepts we're introducing to this space, being able to easily kind of launch your own worlds that are fully automatically scalable, with sort of a whole spectrum of possibilities, ranging from very simple avatars to like full body IK, and just kind of make it fully modular, customizable, so that people can do whatever they want with that. Plug in all sorts of cool technologies. There's all sorts of open source tech out there, and we're sort of like integrating all of these things and making it really easy to plug and play.
And so are there other concerns or fears that you hear people talking about when it comes to XR and the metaverse? And what are some of the ways that you or this community is combating that? Can anybody speak to like privacy and security?
I can have. So we do digital humans, as you know. So we hear all the digital human, like, are they going to steal our identity, all that kind of stuff. And the answer is no. Not from an entertainment standpoint, it's a way to leverage your identity. It's a way to be two places at once. It's a way to expand your user base or your customer engagement. If you're a musician, obviously you can you can do multiple concerts at once, simultaneously in different cities. Similar to like what Athena was talking about, you could probably start to engage the location-based side of this more, so that can alleviate the fears of, oh, people are going to be sitting at home doing this stuff. Well, maybe you bring your headset and your gear to a location now, and it's more of the void and those type of arcade type of things, but maybe more cultural than gamified. So anyway, yeah, on the digital humans, privacy is pretty big, but like anything, as we go, we'll figure out the pain points and soothe them, with new innovation.
So can you talk?
Another technology.
Go ahead.
Another technology that Ethereal Engine uses to enhance the privacy and data ownership for its users is web wallets, which is a technology that most people don't actually know is in the browser, essentially acting as a kind of the similar sort of thing as a crypto wallet, but with none of the crypto backend. It's essentially just some data that sits in your browser that you can use as a profile, rather than using various services like Google or Facebook to log in. You can just log in with your own credentials and not have to give up your privacy or your details to any of these corporations, which really lends itself to the kind of distributed and decentralized nature that the metaverse is kind of known for. Yeah.
So is that the same thing as sovereign identity or related to? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I'm not sure if it's classified as sovereign identity, but it certainly allows users to have control over their data. I'd have to ask one of the people we've worked with, Dimitri, who implemented it into Ethereal Engine and actually worked on the spec for the W3C.
Okay, great. Ari?
Yeah, unless Athena you wanted to jump in. So let's talk about the actual applications of this technology and what it means for us in humanity, because there are these amazing features where you can connect to your crypto wallet and do all these things, but technically, if real people don't have a use for them, why are they there? Well, I think that, when Meta has a lot of negative press, and other VR platforms have as well, of like right off the bat, people are getting harassed, both like verbally, physically, sexually, otherwise. And one of the unfortunate things about VR is it's brand new, and we found from brain studies is that it affects the brain differently, and that actually memories you have in VR are stored in a different part of your brain than what you're looking at when you're on 2D. And so therefore, unfortunately, VR is a powerful tool and can be used to harm in new ways. Just like we found with the previous, 2D forms of media, all kinds of unexpected things happen. But can it also be used to heal as well? And I think that it can. And that fundamentally the use of 3D space and how it is represented is a way to have a whole new kind of emotional dialogue that isn't really allowed by 167 characters on Twitter, which is now full of anti-Semites, apparently. But anyway, sorry, I digress. So I'm actually very excited for the future. Yes, security needs to get worked out. And eventually, as we are in this new evolutionary mode, I think that, sure, we are going to, in theater, it is very common to develop an identity, a mask, a persona, and as it has become for YouTubers as well. And I think that that is going to become more normalized, and that we are, as Philip Rosdale has said, going to have like a Russian doll of identities that we let more and more intimate connections come into contact with. So, but I have seen this used to heal communities and bring communities together in education and all over the place in surprising new ways. So I am very excited for the future. I think there are more benefits than there are drawbacks. Yes, there are major security questions to be solved. Luckily, that's not my job. That is the job of some other people on this call, and I don't envy them. Good luck, guys.
I just want to echo everything Ari's saying. Absolutely, 100%. I am more excited about the future than I am terrified about privacy issues or the trolls, or it's a nascent technology, and everyone is using it to more express themselves, to radically express themselves. And if being a disruptor in the space is how you radically express yourself, then that's what you're going to do. I mean, they fixed the problem, but on VR chat, there was like this common thing that would happen in events that that little 14-year-old boys would just break into the code and shower you with penises. I mean, it just happened, and it was funny and it was hilarious, but that's privacy. That's like a privacy problem. And there's been trolls and people saying really horrible, disruptive things, but they can't actually shoot you with a gun. It's virtual reality. So while, yes, these things might happen, I see it as a way for people to kind of get this energy out of their system in a relatively safe way, that allows us to be better humans to each other in the long run. And so I'm more excited about the possibilities of all of us experimenting with a new type of humanity, of how we can come together and collaborate without country borders, without barriers to entry that evolve being in the same location at the same time. If you talk about theater, and we have these theater companies with people that are all over the world acting within the same piece, but never leaving their living rooms and being together with audiences and interacting with them, that is super exciting. It's not an audience sitting in seats, but an audience actually participating. And that level of collaboration is a lot more exciting to me. And sure, we're going to have privacy issues, and we'll get through them step by step, little by little. We've done it with the internet, and we'll do it with the 3D. It'll happen.
Yeah, I love that. I love that perspective. And I think that it's important that we have it and, be positive. And there's always going to be bad actors, right? No matter what, there's always going to be bad actors. But what excites me also, in addition to the possibility, is just there's so much conversation about ethics and security and privacy. And that's really great. People are thinking about it, and we're learning from the past and trying to build a better future. So I share the positivity. So where's my hand? What did you mean by this, Athena? Let's talk about monetization. How are you all monetizing your experiences?
Well, within the Burning Man community, we don't monetize our experiences.
Okay.
We're de-commodified.
Yes.
So we create experiences for the sake of collaboration and communal effort, so that other people can participate, radically express themselves, that we come together to create something larger than ourselves, that we can all participate within, and that this is a gift. And in order for the gift to be pure, it must be decommodified. And decommodification doesn't necessarily mean you can't make money, but it means that there are no sponsorships, there are no logos, there are no added commodifications to it. It is the art for the sake of the art. That's not to say Big Rock Creative doesn't build other things, but VR is a decommodified project.
And I think that's what's beautiful and special about Burning Man. And then there's the rest of reality that we live in outside of Burning Man. So I know that there are some tools set up in Ethereal Engine that allow for monetization. Have any of you had an opportunity to take advantage of those, and in what ways? Everybody's still doing things for free.
We've been working with Hyperconstruct on some of their e-commerce stuff for a little while. Where it pertains to digital fashion, there's a lot of overlaps. Originally, we were exploring it more on the gamified side, but I've noticed that the live customer service element that they have, probably that combined with having the visual representation of, let's say, inanimate people, we've leveraged that by putting clothing on the volumetric assets. And so we shot a series of models where you can put an entire catalog on a model. And we did it in a way of inclusive fashion. So there's differing body types. So the same garment can be applied to, varying body types, varying heights, weights, etc. And the range of motion kind of showed a little bit more perspective than the AR camera try-on sort of experience. And so what we're going to look to leverage is you've got your live customer service person supporting somebody making e-commerce fashion decisions. If they want to bring their friends into the fold, come help me decide if this, what color should I buy this in? And then with their tools, they can link directly to the actual item for purchase. And so it's a very engaging experience. And so we're in the early stages of that, but we have yet to fully leverage those tools.
And then what about the concerts? Were you monetizing the concerts that you've done?
Not yet. It's more for exposure and evangelizing the form of, hey, fully realistic human performance is welcome in this space. It doesn't need to be like the wave, which is beautiful, but this verifies, hey, that is the actual person. You know, and it doesn't involve mocap. It's actual live action performance. So that's been exciting. Is we can translate the full human emotion of it. Their wardrobes usually elaborate, so we can translate that pretty easily as well.
And then in
But
terms
we
of,
haven't monetized it yet. No.
but have you thought about how you see monetizing it?
Certainly, yeah. A lot of this Web3 and you know, issuing NFT related ticketing is probably the way to go. Our company's more focused on the engagement and the, you know, the content itself, and we're looking for that handshake. And so with Hyperconstruct and the Ethereal Engine, they've provided, they've given us, while we're in startup mode, a means to try this stuff out, to engage people with it, see what works, what doesn't. And so it's on that level, you know, it's for the art as well, because we want to engage people, we want them entertained. We probably will have to succumb to sponsors and whatnot, so that, you know, somebody pays for the talent and the licensing of the music, or comedies and other use cases probably going to be popular with real humans. So excuse me, I got a little cold here. But yeah, so there's a lot of means to monetize the human element through this engine specifically. We created something called Universal Volumetric with their team, which is its own completely open source volumetric solution, and it's agnostic with literally the single camera depth sensors all the way to full, you know, high-end stages.
Is that what I have someone in the audience, Daniel Trujillo, free open source vol cap with wild capture for the win? Is that what he's?
Yeah, we know Daniel. He's a good guy. He's in this space. He develops a lot of stuff. Hey, Daniel.
Cool. Did anybody else want to comment on monetization? Ari?
Yeah, I mean, I got into this in the beginning based off of the other sci-fi book that Neil Stephenson wrote in the 90s that had a concept called a ractor, like a VR actor that would get paid for their time. And so I founded a company to pitch that way too early in like 2016, which was very bad timing, but it led to some consulting gigs and some paid VR. There were two VR paid shows that happened during the pandemic that were paying performers. And so that's from there, it's led to all of these other performance opportunities that have been happening in WebXR, and WebXR especially has become the entry point for students a lot of time. So are the ticket sales paying the bills? No. But in the meantime, yes, I am constantly on other platforms doing brand ambassador gigs that require the same kind of intimacy and connection in a, you know, virtual 3D sales environment where you're just talking with somebody, and it's more about, you know, not necessarily just having somebody on chat trying to sell you something, but like being in a room with someone and having a real experience. And not, you know, it's not it's more about giving someone again an emotion rather than necessarily trying to sell them something. So yeah, corporate money pays the bills, and there's also education. I'm finding grants to build out educational materials to teach students how to use tools to build their own theater shows on Ethereal Engine. So hopefully we'll get more of those grants. It's still edge case, and I would say that this is going to happen, and there will be regular commerce coming from people paid for their time and live performers in VR, and certainly in sales. Probably it'll happen first, but it's a few years away.
Okay, great. So what do you think is important to understand about the social aspect of WebXR? And what do you think about when you're designing a social experience? To think you're all building stuff. You're all building stuff, right? That has this element of bringing people together. And what are some of the things that you need to think about when building for social VR?
Well, for what we look at, it's how are people going to interact with each other? How are people going to participate with the space? What is in the space that allows them to work together with someone? Are they going to build something together? Are they going to interact with something? Are they going to communicate with somebody across the metaverse? So it's not user experience. In fact, I think that term just exists for Web 1, Web 2. But when we're talking about these 3D spaces, it's participant experience. You no longer have users. This is not a passive experience. You are in there like you're in another space. Nobody thinks of the user experience of somebody who goes into I'm trying to think, theater, you would, but there's these physical spaces, and you have to think about how your physical body is going to fit in the space. And when we look at these 3D digital spaces, it's still how are you fitting in the space, and how are you interacting with the space, and then how are you interacting with the other people in the space. And all of that has to be taken into consideration. It is very much a social atmosphere. And that's why when you look at theaters as a lobby, what is the lobby for? The lobby's for socializing, for waiting before you go in, and it serves like a super important purpose. And when we build virtual spaces, we build in a lobby. We build in a place that you land first, where you can get situated, figure out where you're going to go, figure out who's in the space with you, talk, not worry about disturbing the performance, and then you go into the performance. So it's that type of mentality that we're thinking about.
I'm really interested about kind of what augmented reality looks like in this context, in a similar sort of vein, thinking about, we're having a chat over video right now. What happens when you have that in 3D? But also, if you're in a family situation and one person's sick with COVID or in a different country, and you want to have kind of that same experience, Christmas time with your family, but you're all in different countries, that's something that, will soon become possible. And I think that kind of experimenting with augmentation of these social situations is also really interesting. How can we have things like AI or, data visualization tools actually like respond to your conversation in real time? There's a lot of kind of cool internet communities which are exploring how to use like semantic understanding of language and conversation to kind of give real-time feedback of how conversations are kind of unfolding, and seeing, if it's getting a bit too rivalrous, or if it's, falling a bit flat. And, especially on like things like live streams, having ways of aggregating the responses of people in real time, how the audience is engaging, and be able to kind of use AI as well as kind of the 3D cues from all of the sensors on the headsets. There's like, once you have all that data, it's just a matter of knowing what to do with it and how to filter it in a way that is both representative and useful. I think that for so many situations, social, education, industry, business meetings, everything is kind of up for grabs when you have just, every person using augmented reality devices all the time.
So for me, I think one of the failures of sort of traditional existing social media is that it's really hard to communicate and to really express yourself and to really understand, how other people are feeling and really thinking, because you're so limited in how you can express, and you're just there's all sorts of incentives to not really express yourself in a way that's true. Whereas in sort of when you have a much more embodied social experience, I think it really helps with like taking down those barriers to communicating authentically with other people and being connected on a deeper level. And so for me, it's like I always think about narratives, stories, the stories we tell each other about ourselves and the story we tell each other about each other. And I think this medium of AR and VR is really a great way to be able to tell better stories about each other to each other.
Go ahead, Ari.
Nah, I think I'm okay.
You're okay?
Well, there's a lot of differences when you're designing for a social experience right now, when you're talking about what it really is like, because I've hosted now a lot of WebXR and other social experiences in VR. You're still dealing with a huge range of skill levels with VR, experience levels. You're getting anywhere from gamers to people who are still getting their legs for the first time. But I have found that it is an adaptive process to use VR as an expressive tool and start to find yourself there. It is happening. It's happening all over the place. A lot of it is happening in VR chat and Neos, where there's real communities forming there. And WebXR mostly has been used for like one-off events, conferences, and like I was saying, theater festivals. But it depends what you want to achieve. Just getting social, like, what does that mean? Does that mean mass adoption of societies forming in WebXR spaces? Like, not yet, soon, but not. I don't see that happening now. I see that happening in these other game engine spots, and maybe Ethereal Engine will be the very first massively populated metaverse, the social metaverse in WebXR. That would be delightful.
Cool. So why don't we, Garrick, are you ready to move into the second half when we actually demo the experiences?
Yeah.
Okay. And then before we move into going into each separate experience, is there anything else anybody wants to say? And I'm going to ask that when we're looking at your experiences, to really think about and share about why WebXR. So that's kind of the question for each of the experiences. Why WebXR? Athena.
I just want to add something. So there's why WebXR, but there's also why Ethereal Engine.
Okay.
And it's the team behind Ethereal Engine.
Okay.
We were at the 11th hour at our wit's end trying to figure out how to make this work so we can bring all the burners together and make this crazy idea, because literally to get the connectivity at Burning Man to happen, to get a signal out and a signal in on a platform that would be compressed but still beautiful enough to bring everyone together, that's a super tall order. And it took a lot of creative minds and collaboration and thinking both in the dust and out of the dust to make it happen. And it wouldn't have happened without the team. So we could talk about WebXR and we could talk about, platforms, but really it's the team behind the platform that made it possible. So I just want to say kudos to the team that I had on Playa, Ian and Rishi and Sultan, and then the Hyperconstruct team. Like, there was just no way we would have been able to pull this off without you guys constantly being there for us for those 10 days of us being connected and not being connected, and being connected and not being connected. So
Appreciate that. Just for context, both of our teams were like in the middle of nowhere, basically, with no self connection, very limited internet. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, you guys were like camping in the middle of the woods, and we were camping in the middle of the desert, and we were all making it work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've stressed their team out too, but not quite that bad, I guess. So thank you for making us feel a little bit better, because in fact we launched Wild Capture Live with them a week before the Santa Clara AWE just to have something to show around. And we got it basically done in about a week. I mean, we had been throwing around this theater scene you'll see as kind of a temp scene for a while, but it's another one of those slam it together and get it all to work perfectly, literally just in time to say, yep, here it is. So so much thanks for that as well.
And Josh, I don't know if you or Garrick wants to say anything about like what's unique about the platform that allows these things to happen.
Yeah, I mean, something I've been wanting to say is really, I think that the core thing about really answering both the question of why WebXR and why Ethereal Engine. I mean, the reason I am here and working on this is because I see that bringing the barrier of entry down to this technology is kind of one of the most important things to be doing about, you know, opening up the metaverse to all as a free and inclusive technology, and really, you know, democratizing access is really one of our core values. And we see that the WebXR spec, the browser, the web is one natural way of doing it. And we're really just trying to put a lot of engineering and thought behind how to create essentially a fantastic toolkit around that, how to get people, you know, off their feet with kind of the same level of, you know, really beginner basic stuff that a lot of, you know, engines like Unreal and Unity are known for. Like, it's really easy for beginners to get into, but then you can also create these really incredible AAA games on them, and that's kind of what we're aiming at. And you know, we've spent the last kind of 3 years just exploring both how the WebXR and the web 3D communities have evolved, and trying to kind of learn from all the mistakes of you know, the last kind of 20-30 years of video games generally, and as well as just the latest and best patterns in programming. And really, we're really proud of kind of where the engine has landed, with a lot of really interesting patterns in programming that allow users to both rapidly and very simply, like, create these experiences. The Putt Club game is like actually quite minimal in terms of what it is. It's kind of just pulling out certain functionality and throwing a whole bunch of 3D art at the engine, and out comes this game. So that's really kind of what the core driver of the engine has been. Yeah.
That's great. What I'm kind of reminded of by what you're saying, it's from an engineering point of view, you've done a lot of like competitive analysis from UX design point of view. You've gone out and you've looked at, like, what are the best pieces of technology that exist, and how can we bring all of those best pieces together, and make sure that we don't replicate mistakes that were made. So it's really, I think, what I've always known, I know about you guys through my connection with Liam Broza, and what I've always known about Liam is that he's always looking for the best answer and the best solution, and yeah, so that, I think that's what allows a lot of this optimization that you guys are doing, in addition to making it all work, but really how optimized it is from a technical point of view. So Garrick, are we ready?
Yeah, so we have a couple of videos we want to share before we dive into VR. I think we can, should we start with the within the window demo cut, and then move on to the Halloween skit that we did just recently, and then we jump into the VR demos?
Yeah, so we want to give each creator time to demo and talk about their experience. So we're going to start with within the window with cool. Athena and Ian. And because we're not at Burning Man and we don't have the window actually set up, we're going to show some video, and then they're going to talk about it.
My life.
Garrick, we lost audio.
MIT hackathon.
Okay.
I ideated it. These guys I met them all at the MIT hackathon, and they thought my idea was a good one. We are going to bridge the metaverse to the playa. So people in virtual will be able to talk to people here at the artery, at the window.
All right. So that was a shortcut of the what we were able to capture from doing the project. The core premise of this was, again, bringing a connection between the people who are on Playa and people who are online. Some of the reasons that we opted for Ethereal Engine, Athena has a lot of experience running events in alt space, and then as an event organizer myself, I've tried out different platforms like Gather or running things in VR chat, and ultimately we opted to use Ethereal Engine just because of the way lower friction for getting into the experience. There's a lot of onboarding and complications that can happen just trying to get into an event, and it was a major piece that we wanted people to just go to a URL and drop right into the space. That was some of the key reasoning behind setting it up this way, and then also able to iterate really quickly on what we wanted to build. So part of the intent as well is bringing in art. There's so many beautiful art pieces at Burning Man, and being able to give a full sense of the world where people could go and explore and see the art pieces from that year and some from the previous years that we had available as scans. We're even hoping to continue this project in the future with the nature of it being able to update so quickly that we could capture with proper bandwidth, we'd be able to capture scans on Playa and then upload them and update them throughout the week, because every year there's new art. So those were some of the major reasons that we went into that. The more physical side of the project was, as you saw there, getting the window itself. We used a reclaimed movie set with a large television inside of it. And then another strength of Ethereal Engine is the fact that it works anywhere in any aspect ratio. So like even we got this set up, we tried to do like alt space on it, and you get big black bars between the top and the bottom because it will only do a horizontal aspect ratio. As versus Ethereal Engine will resize. It works on mobile. It works in VR. Our participants were able to join in both mobile and in VR and have an immersive experience, or just have a casual desktop experience, whatever they were most comfortable with. But again, lowering those the barrier to entry was really key part of making this project so that we could get as many people in as possible. There were a few other pieces that we were able to do to make the experience feel more social. So like Ethereal Engine has, we were able to we wanted people to be able to present themselves as they chose. So giving a video portal for people's webcam that then appears above their head. So as you as you're talking to a person, you feel like, well, I can customize my avatar and make it look however I'd like. Also, there is a real person there that I'm speaking with. And again, that's one of the powers of these social XR spaces, is it's not just typing in a channel or people chatting back and forth in a forum, but you really feel like you're interacting with another human. And those are all key pieces for this project.
Yeah, staying in line with radical inclusivity, which is one of our principles, we really are working hard and making it as easy for people to participate with whatever technology they have available. And Ethereal Engine gave us that ability. You know, lots of times you have to set up an app, and some of these VR platforms are gorgeous, but you have to have PC VR. So you have to have like a $700 minimum headset with a $3,000 computer. And Some people can't do that. There's a lot of people that only have cell phones, and they don't even have a computer, and they want to participate and they want to see what's going on. And this gave them the ability to connect. So that was a huge bonus for us. And then being able to build so quickly.
Very cool. Well,
I do have to say, we also had a great partnership with Burning Man. The Burning Man project and the Artery gave us a great location, and then they power and internet. If we didn't have those two things, this wouldn't happen. So it all came together beautifully.
Yeah, it's a very cool project. I love it. So I'm curious, Ian, I wasn't clear. Were those scans of the artwork at Burning Man in the VR experience?
Those are a mix. We have one of them is like a temple. So that was the temple from the previous year. Athena, you might have to help me with which years
so
they
we
were. You have quite the history with the event.
Temple from 2019 we had brought in. The main structure that people stood inside was from our Temple of the Guardian, which was a temple museum. That was originally what we wanted to do. We wanted to do it as 3 screens, and then we had to constantly make it smaller due to restrictions. And then we had different art pieces. Our goal, what we really wanted to do, was go to Playa and actually scan art on the Playa and then upload it, and then have the hyperconstruct team get it in. So we had like current art, but the bandwidth didn't allow us to do that. We could do our live stream up and down, but sending those models to get put in wasn't possible. So all the models that are in there are either from the 2021 event, or we had about 50 models that were given to us for an event called the Desert Arts Preview, which is a preview of art that is coming to the Playa. Normally it's done on slideshows, but this year Burning Man asked us if we would help create it in virtual reality. So we actually have these worlds you can walk around with all these different pieces. That's actually on AltSpace, but we were able to take a few of those pieces and put it in for this year's event so that you're actually seeing art that was physically at the Playa.
So maybe next year you'll be able to recreate the Playa
Absolutely.
in VR.
We'll be out there with
need
scanners.
more bandwidth. But it's a goal.
Maybe you'll have it.
There'll be
Burning
more
Man has always
iterations
been
of the project.
notorious about not having bandwidth.
Okay.
The internet will, like this year was the year of the Starlink, and a lot of people had Starlinks, and a lot of people used their Starlinks until about Wednesday, and then everyone's Starlinks started not working because there were too many of them out there. That's just, you are literally in the most remote place in the entire continent.
Well, congratulations. It's a spectacular project, and I'm really happy that we get to show it to the AWE community.
Thank you.
So thank you for all the people that came together to make that happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So are we ready to move on to, I think we're going to look at some fashion video. Garrick, are you set up?
So no, the next video up is this the Halloween skit from last night. I've uploaded it here, so we just need whoever our media guy is to play it. There we go.
No, just the streamers of the incorporeal form, and even less corporeal because we're in the metaverse, right? It's all bits and bytes. Anyway, nothing to be scared of. Or so he claimed. Yes, that's right. The Wi-Fi is haunted as the old bloody shack. All right, everyone.
Who has summoned me?
Holy crap, it worked, you guys! Shut up! That's it! There's the ghost of Harry Houdini! Harry, how's it going, man? Sorry, I'm really surprised that it worked. Harry, we have...
Well, of course it worked. Yeah,
About
so
what's going on there.
that was a lot of fun. We kind of threw this together over the last few weeks. Some interesting side notes there. The Harry Houdini avatar. I basically just found some old pictures of Harry Houdini, uploaded it to Ready Player Me. It did most of the work for me. I made the guy look super pale, so he looked like a ghost, and gave him some like dark eyeshadow, and that was it. Took me like 10 minutes. I threw that into the engine and was able to run around with him. But yeah, you know, it was lots of fun. I'm not a performer. Ari is. He did a great job. I just had to jump down from the ceiling. We created like an invisible ramp in one of the back rooms, and you just, you know, you could walk up there and just jump down. That was my role.
I mean, so in real space, you actually jumped, so you would look like you were
Oh
falling?
no. in the virtual world. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ari, tell us about that.
Well, you know, it's all about interactivity. So you kind of follow the audience where they want to go. So I'm, you know, the really interesting thing is with all WebXR platforms, how do you queue objects? How do you queue animations? You know, how much expression can you have with the platform? And, you know, it's really cutting edge as far as its abilities with volumetric video and with augmented reality. And like right now it's waiting for artists to kind of weave these incredibly powerful things they can do in the engine and start using them to express themselves, the fact that they can. So, you know, it's obviously a prototype. But the potential for being able to have really an amazing amount of control over creating your 3D environment, and the kind of pipeline with how fast you can optimize avatars that have, you know, full IK. You know, no WebXR platform has been able to do that. You're going to hear me, you know, I'm going to echo all of the things that everyone has said. Accessibility, you can get in with one link. The emphasis on desktop, meaning that you can get anyone on any device, even on a phone, into your event and do a performance for them. Really, you're using VR as kind of a production platform at that point. And then you can do it for mobile headset. And then, you know, you can set up a whole different set of assets that look really different for people on PC VR. So there's so many options. It's it's like a wealth of options. And so now we just need to get people using it. And I think it's going to put that glue of like, how do we get this in the hands of artists? How do we get this in the hands of, you know, people, yes, of course, making sales and doing commerce, but, you know, how do we make this an actual product that people are using in their regular lives? And this is the platform to do it, as far as I'm concerned.
And how do we get the audience as well? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna, you know, VR is a slow starter, guys. Sorry, it's gonna happen when it happens. I'm sorry. I had stars in my eyes early on, and I've been jaded too many times. It's gonna happen when it happens, and nobody knows. Maybe it'll be this next round of headsets. There'll be hype. I think augmented reality and Apple glasses and Ethereal Engine. Shh. Don't tell. Only tell your closest friends. That is the killer cocktail. That is gonna be the shoot to the moon. You know, or some other thing will get bought and there'll be a shortage of chips. Who knows what will happen in the future and when VR will catch on. But it's the best bet in many years, I think.
Okay. And then Garrick, I see you have the Quest Pro on your head. Is that
You got it.
A game changer? What has that allowed you to do?
What's that?
What has that allowed you to do? Is the Quest Pro a game changer? Like what?
Oh, it's great. Yes. I mean, all of our demos run on here. They run better than on the Quest 2. all we can ask for right now is pretty much built in here, right? This is the most powerful platform for our Ethereal Engine at the moment. We have plane finding, hit testing against the world. We have augmented reality. We have virtual reality. It's great. I know a lot of people are comparing this to like a VR device, but if you actually think about how what Meta has been able to do with the Oculus Quest 2 is slowly improve the software over the last 2 years with the same hardware. So I know that this is only going to keep getting better, right? Pass through is a little bit wonky right now, but it's still like it's great. It's a great device, especially for all the stuff that we want to be. We're a bit early, with everything we're doing here. We're sort of leading edge. So it's perfect. It's perfect for everything we're trying to do. And I know over time, all the capabilities that are on this kind of at this price point are gonna end up on the $300 headsets and become more and more ubiquitous over time.
And so tonight we'll go into the VR world. You're going to be streaming. We're going to be streaming from your Quest Pro to AWE Live, and that's going to get recorded.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, all of that works. What I find really interesting about your platform is the simplicity of going back and forth between AR and VR. And I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. Are we going to show the video? Are we going to show the video of the fashion show on the boat or anything like that?
We can show the fashion show in the virtual world. All this is live, you guys. So if you want to jump in and try it out yourselves, you can go to etherealengine.com, our explore page. We also have a short URL, xrti.me. And you can actually join us right now if you want.
Can you put that in the live chat?
Yes, I can do that while I look through a little gap in my view here.
Here, no, that's not it.
There you
Great.
go.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
So
I'll take you guys to the explore page. We're going to jump into one of these demos. Will, it's up to you. Caverns of Cheek. This is the fashion volumetric demo, or Globe Theater, the concert demo.
What does everybody want to see? The fashion thing, maybe?
Okay.
If we could do both, if we do it quickly.
Let's try it.
Yeah, they're pretty fast experiences.
And then you can join on this link, as we said, in a headset, any headset, or through a browser.
Or on the browser, on mobile, desktop. Yeah, it should load anywhere.
Yeah.
So here we are. This is the 2D view. Now I can jump in here into the immersive view. Hopefully you guys can see this. I think it's streaming.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
And yeah. So you can see, actually, Will, why don't you talk a bit about what we're seeing here?
Sure. So we shot, this is a volumetric model who was shot in actual undergarments, like a bathing suit. And we took CG clothing and we're able to take both the volumetric video and the CG cloth and bake it down to be real time for this. And so we were able to get 2 garments per transition, so you can transition from garment to garment, and there's kind of an effect. It looks like it's not playing right now though.
Yeah, it looks like it's frozen.
You might have to refresh, unfortunately.
Yeah, my bandwidth might be a bit here.
But you can see this in the fashion link that they have in here. But basically what it does is it transitions from one piece of clothing to another pretty seamlessly, showing that we can do a whole catalog of clothing sort of thing. And so we're working on a more, with Hyperconstruct, actually, we're working on making it more efficient so we can bring sneakers, jewelry, handbags, watches, all the fun stuff built onto the model. So this is some of our earlier tests just to kind of proof of concept. So it's a little bit dirty, but the quality is probably 4 times that now, because we've been AIing the textures, and we're able to get a stronger mesh through it as well now. So it's an exciting time to be using the Ethereal Engine.
And then you can also take this experience and pass through and see it anywhere in mixed reality through the engine, which I think is really exciting. I love that.
Yeah, so the links for that are currently at the bottom of the XR time page for the AR versions of these. But there's no reason why you can't load up these locations in AR as well. We do support that. It'll show up as like a scaled down model of the entire world, or you can also place it at life size, but then you're sort of overlapping with your physical environment, which is a little bit weird for AR, but it works. Yeah. So this is the concert demo. And you can see you can get up right up close. I can actually go up on stage with her, I think. We have stairs. Maybe not.
Can you jump up?
Oh, good point.
It's a little too high. Oh, no, there you are. Oh, you're right inside her.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. You can really see the fidelity close up.
Yeah. So there's a little bit more optimization needed to get this running smoothly on the Quest, just because we're more constrained on here. But we do have some optimizations in the pipeline here. This is, we've only been able to get this running on the Quest for about a week. So the fact that it works at all is pretty cool. So next up, I think, what are we looking at? Putt Club?
Yeah, sure. Will, did you want to say anything more about the concert?
Yeah. So there's I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Forgive me. They were able to do an AR version as well of this that I thought was pretty cool. Like we were discussing. Do we have the video for that by any chance, or?
Yes, I can pull up the video.
I thought that was probably the coolest thing I had seen out of this. Granted, like, it's cool that there's a concert experience, but seeing the patrons as well as the talent, like we were saying earlier, in AR is just like the sweetest thing. So to me, that was the moment where I was just like, holy crap, this is coming together, really.
Here we go. Okay. So this is a rough cut, but yeah. So part of the problem right now with capturing these things on the web is it doesn't actually capture the audio. So we'd have to add that back in, or we bugged Jacob Rossi, the guy in charge of the WebXR browser on the Oculus, so we can actually capture some better videos of this with sound. But it's very cool in person, trust me. Yeah, we were just testing out things. This wasn't really well produced. Obviously, you can see the frame rate up there at the top. Just testing up our performance and making sure this runs well. But as you can see, mostly green, so that's good.
It's impressive. It's still impressive.
So all those tools are open source tools that every bit of that is part of their package. So that's one of the exciting things is we collectively were like, we want to make this available and as scalable as humanly possible, because this technology is kind of on the rise now. It needs a home, and so we're trying to use Ethereal Engine as a means to attract, the volumetric video community. Say, hey, it's completely a free and open means to do this. And I love to see they're more than happy to make our dreams come true.
By the way, I love how like half of us are wearing like these crazy things on our heads right now. This is, it's like hats.
And I'm putting links to some of this stuff in the chat for people to go and check out later. So I think Putt Club is up next.
Yeah. You want to start talking about that, Josh, while I pull it up?
Yeah. What should I be talking about? Essentially, it's just a video game. It's a Putt Club game. It's actually a golf game.
Let me start with the editor. I don't think we've shown anybody the editor and the project system. So let's show people what that looks like, and you can talk about how that's been designed, Josh.
Yeah, the project system is something I'm really kind of happy with the engine. It's something I'm most proud of with our team. Essentially, we've invented this way of being able to take open source code that exists just on GitHub or whatever other repository website is out there, and be able to load that up, click a few buttons, and have that code start to work in your Ethereal Engine deployment. It allows us to essentially containerize and componentize the code in a very similar way that any other kind of application does, where you have basically the application and that acts as kind of the host or this kind of base engine that you can then build more projects on. So this project system is basically allows you to store your content, store your assets, your code, and then be able to load that up onto any deployment, either on your local test environment or any of your production or development deployments, and that's where a lot of kind of and all of the kind of experiences exist. There's kind of the engine as a base layer, and all these projects sit on top of that and can be interoperable. You can build off other projects, and essentially it's kind of the start of its own open source ecosystem of all these projects.
Can we pull up the screen share? I'm trying to share. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on the screen.
So Josh, what about connecting to other platforms, like connecting to an experience that's happening on Altspace VR? When will something like that be a reality?
It's a good question. Interoperability to that degree is quite a challenge. The WebXR spec is very, very close to being good enough to do that, at least between different websites. There are just a lot of security concerns about going between experiences, but I have no doubt as kind of this technology and the ecosystem is built out that there will be APIs to allow that sort of thing. Right now, we're kind of focusing on the single experience and essentially within the same domain, being able to move between experiences. We do have a portal system which allows us to move between different locations in real time that persists your audio party. So you can still talk to people as you kind of move through different worlds, which does work in an immersive session. And yeah, that same technology actually allows us to kind of use this editor view that you can see Jarek sharing now as a you can actually see people running around. If I was to get up the same site and go into a game, Jarek could be able to see me walking around. I'd have my full virtual reality kind of inverse kinematics set up, and it's all kind of just real time. Yeah.
Very cool.
This is the game in development. This is our editor. It's all very cool. We've been working on this very hard. So let's jump into the quest.
Is this link? Can I share this link, Garrick, or is it ready to be made public?
So the link won't do anything for someone who doesn't have access to admin access. This is
oh, okay.
But we are planning on open sourcing this all when it's ready.
Okay.
So let me jump back into the quest. Okay. So you can see how quickly this loads, right? This is one thing we're really proud of. These kinds of experiences generally load way faster than downloading an app from the Oculus store. You know, you can send somebody a link and immediately they're in, and it kind of doesn't matter whether they don't have, whatever device they have, it's just immediately loads. Something that's really hard to do if you're going to deploy in the App Store. And yeah, this is our game. This is the lobby, so this is where you can kind of hang out, as Athena was saying earlier, and kind of chat before you start the game. We have I'm sorry, maybe Josh should be explaining this since he's the one who's been working on this so much. You wanna share, Josh?
Yeah, so what you're seeing now is, the lobby, as Jarek said. We've got a custom UI system which Jarek has pioneered, called the XR UI system. It allows us to render essentially parts of a web page in 3D. So it makes it very, very easy to kind of migrate 2D websites to 3D websites by kind of pulling apart all the individual panels and rendering them in the 3D world. They can be clicked with the controllers, dragged around. It's very, very similar to kind of a 2D front end developer experience. You can see, Jarek is putting the ball around. We have the Rapier physics engine, which is a very, very new engine, extremely fast, built in Rust, compiled to WebAssembly, and runs very, very fast in the browser. We've spent the last month or so kind of getting a bunch of improvements to this to really utilize the full capacity and have a proper physics simulation, where essentially just using the basic physics to take the ball around. What else should I share?
So I mean, everything you see here is unlit. We're baking ambient occlusion and global illumination into all of the assets here. So this runs at full frame rate on the Oculus Quest, 90 hertz. It's very, very. We've spent a lot of time optimizing a lot of different things here, and the physics, everything has been the art. We're really, really happy about where things are. I'm not very good at this, by the way, but as you can see, it's fun to play with, right? And that's the whole point. It's a social game. We have voice. We have, you can express yourself with your avatars. You can load up your own avatars if you want. It's lots of fun. And I think, we're working on more levels. We're working on AR version. It's lots here, and I'm just really proud of the team for what they've been able to pull off here, because I don't think I've seen anything else this cool on the web before, and it's just beautiful.
It's definitely impressive. I can't wait for this to be released. I've had many a good time playing miniature golf, so this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we can't wait to release it either. We're probably gonna release it this week, actually. And so if you guys are interested, we will This will be out soon.
And how can people find out about it, Garrick? Do you want me to paste the link to the Discord channel?
You can actually sign up on puttclub.io right now, and we'll send you guys an email when we launch.
Okay, puttclub.io.
Yes. Let me grab the link.
So speakers, do you want to maybe put your contact information, your preferred way of communication in the chat so people can contact you to follow up about the work that you're doing? And we're closing out. So if there's anything more you'd like to say, and audience, if you have questions, I haven't seen any questions come up. Feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think this is a great session. I really loved everything that got demoed and the work that you guys are doing. It's really impressive. I hope that people truly understand and appreciate the specialness of what Ethereal Engine is doing, and hopefully this was an opportunity for people to learn more about the platform. So are we good? Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging in. And yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It was great hanging out.
Thank you.